This is the 2.5 LLCs podcast. I'm your host, Dre, and the BUILDING. And this is the 2.5 LLCs podcast. Once again, like the video, abuse that like button. You know why you abuse the like button? Because when you abuse it, there's more exposure for everyone that goes around. And there's more greatness for everyone that goes around. So that's why you abuse the like button. However, if you're getting abused at home, I apologize. Hope you had that situation one day, if not tomorrow. However, this is 2.5 LLCs podcast, man. And we have Zach in the building, a.k.a. Stoneface.
A.k.a. used to be Stoneface.
Also, before we get started, like, comment, subscribe on every platform. YouTube, 2-12 LLCS podcast. Instagram, 212 LLCS POD pod. And on all podcast platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and wherever you get podcasts, 2.5 LLCs podcast. Antwon is still a part of the show. He just wasn't able to make it this evening. Follow him at CarterBoy2521 on Instagram. Y'all already know what it is. And let's get started with the show with lucrative tip of the day. If you haven't done something before, try it anyway. You might like it. Or it might work out for you. You never know. Also, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world, but half of it is none of your business. Some of it you don't need to listen to, and a small portion of it you may need to pay attention to. But most importantly, pay attention to what's going on in your own household, because that's the most important rate of change that you need to happen. And also, a lot of people don't care about you, so only care about yourself and the people that actually care about you. Lucrative tips of the day. There's a clap going here one day. One day we will have a sound effect. With that being said, we have people of all walks of life that are on this platform. And today we have longtime spectator, first time show presenter. I didn't say that right, but we're going to roll with it. Short time show guest. We have Zach in the building.
Before.
Not on this podcast.
I helped set it up before.
Yeah, you haven't been on the show yet. But now you're on the show, man.
I feel like I made it.
Yeah, congratulate yourself, first of all.
Well, thank you.
Because we all need to do it. Yeah, man.
I would like to thank Dre, because without him, this wouldn't be possible.
Facts.
I'd also like to thank Antwon. It probably would be possible, but I miss him.
Okay, fair enough. Is there anything you would like to state about yourself before we get into who you are and how you got to this position so far?
No, not really. I mean, aside from the obvious, super cool.
All right, bet.
Super cool.
All right. So let's start all the way from the beginning. Zach, where are you from?
Asheville, North Carolina. I was born in Georgia, but I'm from Asheville.
How long were you in Georgia?
2-3 years, something like that. I don't remember it.
Okay.
I've been back since, but I wasn't conscious of that.
Got you. So how is in the mountains in Asheville, man? I know it's cold, but what else is it besides cold, though?
Perfect.
Explain.
It's, I don't know. I feel like Raleigh, but here, I can go out and do whatever I want, and there's all these restaurants around, but it all costs money. Whereas back in Asheville, I can just go out and do whatever I want. And, like, most of the stuff's free, you know. I just, like, drive a little bit, and I'm at a waterfall or, you know, a hiking trail, something cool like that. I used to like to go take a hammock, you know what I'm talking about?
Is that a hammock?
It's like a hammock, but it's a different kind of fabric, kind of more comfortable. I used to go set that up next to a waterfall and just, like, make beats.
Oh, you one of
Watch
those.
the waterfall. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, one of those earthy producers.
Oh,
that
yeah,
sit
totally.
outside
Totally.
with your feet crossed with the feet out, cross-legged. Okay.
Barefoot.
So growing up, being little Zach, what was little Zach interested in as a youth?
Little Zach. Man, just like being obnoxious, just being really obnoxious, running around, doing obnoxious things. I still kind of like to do that, you know. I started music at pretty young. I was like third grade when I started playing piano. So that took up a lot of it. I tried to play soccer for a while. I was really bad at it, but my team was good. So that was helpful. I worked on a farm for a while.
What do you do?
It's like upkeep, you know, taking care of animals, feeding them, stuff like that. But it was more fun than I thought it would be. I kind of started that job as a joke. In high school, it was my first job. My best friend worked there, so he kept trying to convince me. I thought it was really funny, so I went and worked at the farm, but I still go back, you know.
You have a memory that stands out to you the most from working on the farm?
Yeah, so many. We used to do we do rock bowling. We try to find a big old rock, like the size of your head or bigger, and then we go up to the top. The farm was like kind of a mountain,
Okay.
so we go up to the top of the mountain with the rocks, and then we just kind of roll them down the mountain. And there was a fence at the bottom, so we'd watch it kind of just like obliterate this fence, and then we'd have to go down and fix it, and put a new fence up. I don't know, bro. I was getting paid.
Rock bowling. All right. Wow. So in the music, since we talked about music already, what made you want to be ingrained in music?
I don't know. I just kind of asked my mom if I could take piano lessons. I really didn't like them for a while. I don't know. It was kind of like you know how piano lessons are when you're a kid, stuff like that, and they're asking you to practice all this stuff, and I don't know. I felt like it was always stuff that I didn't choose. It was a lot of classical music. It was good music, but it's stuff I didn't choose.
Yeah, that's how the beginning goes. They give you all this classical theater stuff, and then you break the rules and remix it to whatever you want to do.
True. I will say learning classical music was pretty helpful, especially for reading music. Just because, like, you know, if you learn how to do that quick, learn how to sight read and stuff like that with the, you know, less complicated music's a little bit easier. But yeah, no, once I got to middle school, I joined the whole band kid route, kind of started playing the trumpet, and I really liked the trumpet. We had a really good jazz program, and I had a lot of friends that were a lot better than me, playing like all national jazz camps and going to these cool schools and stuff. So yeah, I just had cool people to play with, be around, listen to a lot of good music.
What instrument was your choice of play?
I picked the trumpet, and I played the trumpet the whole way. I played the French horn for a semester. I just like the trumpet. I think it's pretty versatile. It's one of those instruments where it's not as hard to learn. It's just it's hard to get the heavier skills on it. But I mean, as far as like the actual learning the instrument itself, it's just 3 buttons, and then you have to learn the partials, learn how to control with your face. And that's about it.
What was your practice regimen when you was being the trumpet player?
I was always big on tone. Like everybody else was trying to play high. I don't know if it was because I wasn't too good at playing high, but I never got too into it. So I would I don't know if you know what like long tones are.
I could guess, but no.
It's been a good bit of my practice sessions, especially in college, just playing notes really long.
Okay. Like stretching them out
chromatically.
Okay.
And then like working on going from like the bottom register and slurring up to the top. It's kind of weird to explain, but it's like not moving your fingers at all, not pressing the buttons, but just going from like this note open to the next note that's open to the next note that's open, and then back down. And then from there, just depends on what I need to work on. You know, because it was always kind of a school thing. So a lot of the times it'd be like a specific transcription of a song, and then I had to listen to this solo and write it down, learn how to play it, and then play it the next week during my lesson, stuff like that.
So what was one of your favorite songs that you transcribed and played?
Oh, man, I didn't finish it, but it was called Jitterbug Waltz by Chick Corea. It was a full piano transcription, so like, and there was a big section at the beginning of it that didn't have any time, like meter or anything like that. So I couldn't really notate it with bar lines and stuff like that. I had to just kind of freehand where the notes went. But I spent a whole 6-hour session just doing the first 8 measures of that song. It was crazy. It was fun. I like doing stuff like that. It's kind of therapeutic.
Really?
Yeah.
So you really enjoy the art of transcribing songs into new pieces or variations of them?
Yeah. It's cool because I can see what the song sounds like. Kind of, I don't know. I can see in my own handwriting. I've got really bad writing handwriting, but really good music notation handwriting. So it looks really clean, almost as if I printed it out. I don't know why. I hold a pencil like a. It's bad.
All right. Interesting, because I haven't heard that phrase in a while, and I know there was one part of music class I had that we started to do that in, but I just didn't go forward with the piano back when I was in college, so I didn't try to even transcribe or get in there doing any of that going forward.
Well, when I was in high school, like I said, we had a really good jazz program, and jazz is all about improvisation. It's a big part of it was just trying to learn how to memorize the chord structure of the song so that you can just play whatever you want and it'll sound good. Not whatever you want, but whatever sounds good over it. But they told us back in, it was junior year of high school, they were like, if you want to get good at this, start transcribing. It helps you understand chord structure better. So that's what I did. I started with really simple stuff, just the classic Miles Davis solos that everybody knows, and Chet Baker solos and stuff like that. Roy Hargrove was always my favorite. Rest in peace. I was really bummed I never got to go to one of his shows.
Yeah. Wow. Didn't know that was one of your things until earlier today. I said, well, you transcribe music? What?
Yeah. Actually, a few months after I started here, well, I don't remember when it was, but Mike gave me a call and was like, hey, this woman has this piano solo that she wants the sheet music for. She called the studio to see if anybody here could write it out for her. And it was just a specific piano solo on YouTube of somebody playing Georgia on My Mind. And she was like, yeah, this guy usually notates his music and sells it, but he didn't put this one up, and I messaged him about it. He said he doesn't know if he will, and so she paid me $120 to listen to the solo, write it down, type it out for her. I always handwrite first, so I wrote it down, typed it out on the software, and then sent it to her. Cool.
What software you use?
It's called Finale.
Okay.
It's literally just, you can take a MIDI controller, and you can put it in, I don't know what it's called, scribe mode or something like that, and you can just play along to it, and then it'll write it out as you play it, and then you can go back and adjust stuff that you did wrong.
Okay.
But yeah, I spent hours transcribing. They used to make me do 1 or 2 a week for trumpet solos.
Damn.
I really enjoyed it.
That's cool, man. Because I believe one of the most important things people in life, in my opinion anyway, need to know is what they enjoy to do and what they love to do, and how that's going to take them to be able to make residuals or income off of that. whatever that skill or skills may be.
Yeah, I agree. I will say that with trumpet in particular, I definitely had a tendency to try to focus on the things that I liked more. So like I'd always find myself transcribing when I should have been doing like, like I said, I'm not too good of a range player. There's ways to fix that. I just never really.
You just don't enjoy it, so you ain't gonna practice. You ain't gonna practice. If you don't like it, you're not gonna end up doing it.
It's true.
And this is what it is. If you don't love it or it doesn't seem a benefit to you at certain moments, you're not gonna do it. Not saying that you can't develop on it. It's just if there's no benefit after a certain point and you don't want to do it, it's not gonna get done for the most part.
And that was the thing with like the piano lessons as a kid. You know, I wanted to take piano. That was never a question, but it's like, did I want to do those songs? No. And I didn't practice because I was a ADHD fourth grader playing classical music. But like, I got in the groove, especially in college. I got in the groove where I was practicing really steadily. I'd go about 11 p.m. and leave the music building like 3 or 4, depending on the night. And I'd start with piano, and then I'd go to trumpet, and then I just kind of switched between the two as I liked. I played piano as more of like a refresher between trumpet stuff, so I could save my face, but just kind of think about something else.
Interesting, man.
Yeah. I will say I'm not as good as I want to be on either one of those instruments. And I feel like I've kind of taken a break from both, but my trumpets, I pull it out quite often, play it. It's my baby.
Have you ever made a trumpet beat?
I have used my trumpet. I put it in the Kenny Beats beat battle back in 2020. And I remember he did a 24-hour beat battle. He usually does like you have an hour and a half to submit the beat or whatever. And the week before that, it was my first time joining the beat battle, and I was a finalist. But I didn't know how SoundCloud worked, so I didn't make the song downloadable. So I watched the whole stream listening for my beat, like listening to Kenny Beats, critiquing my beat, and he never listened to it. And so then the next week they had that 24-hour one, and I stayed up. I remember I used to practice in my church back home. I'd go at night, practice till like 3 or 4 a.m., just like college, and I went there and I stayed for 5 hours and made that beat with my trumpet and everything. I didn't even finalize. There's some like 1,600 submissions or something like that. I got lost in the crowd, lost in the sauce.
Damn,
man. I want to find that. I'll play it for you if I can find it.
All right, cool, man. I hope it's fire. It sounds like it should be.
I can't remember because I'm pretty critical of my beats, and I'll be honest with myself if I like them or don't like them, but I can't remember if I like that one or not.
Are you one of these overly critical people, or are you?
No. If I'm overly critical of a beat, all I do is go on YouTube and find an acapella that matches the tempo and key, and I put it on top of it, and all of a sudden I'm like, wow, I made a pretty good beat. It works every time. I don't know how, but just magically it just works.
You actually try to make your beats for rappers now.
Yeah. And I actually started that. I mean, I think I told you this before, but I started that just making the beat to make the beat, and then somehow I'd magically find the acapella on YouTube that fits with it. But I'll try to like do it the other way around now. Put acapella up first and then make a beat around it. It's just weird when you can hear the original song.
Oh yeah, still got the artifacts in there.
Help.
Yeah. Just lower high pass to the point something like a cell phone and just go at it from there.
I will pay money to anybody that could properly EQ vocals out of a song so that I can put them on my beats. I enjoy that so much. I had a friend who
You ever use the LAAI software on the? You never heard of that, have you?
I have. Actually.
Oh.
What's it on?
I don't know. It's like it's just a desktop app, just a computer app.
No, that's not what I'm
computer
thinking of.
website.
I'm thinking of something else.
It's the LAAI software. You just type it in, you put the song in there, it
does it
instrumental in the
for you?
beat. Yeah. You might still do a little extra stuff to it, but that's how you get acapellas for anything.
Do you know Trailblazer Studios here in Raleigh?
Yeah.
I had a friend that worked with them as an intern, and he said that they have like, I can't remember exactly what the brand was, but it was an EQ made for that, just pulling vocals out of stuff.
I bet, yeah.
I looked it up. It was expensive.
I bet.
It was expensive.
Yeah, man, hardware ain't no joke, man. That's why it's so held up to a high standard. That's why other people try to say, oh, you don't need hardware. You don't need it. But if you can afford it, you want it, get it. It's always
think
go ahead.
It'll ever, like, that's not a good question. I was going to say, do you think it'll ever become obsolete? I don't think it will completely, but.
Hell no.
I'm talking, like, rat gear type stuff.
Hell no. Only reason I say that because when you have the industry that starts out it sounds so much better. Especially when you're using it right anyway, but you have to use it correctly though, regardless. That's what anything. You can make plugins sound almost there, but it's not there. But it's all about what you're running your stuff through, because you're always going to, for the most part, I could be wrong. It might end up happening, but I doubt it. Because you have to have that human element to really bring out a record.
I agree with that.
No matter how much AI develops or what ends up happening, you still need a human element to be brought out as far as on the mixing side to make that record a record.
I definitely agree with that.
And that's why so many songs nowadays just come and go, because sometimes there's not enough quote unquote soul in some of these records, and they're just here in and out. It's a stat. I don't know the number specifically, but people today are listening to older music more.
Yeah.
Why is that, right? It's not enough, in my opinion, and I guess what the numbers say, it's not enough soul in these records nowadays.
Yeah. I also feel like TikTok has brought back so many bangers and just ruined them. You know, like SWV.
Yeah.
And like Weak. I love that song. And they had to go in. I'm sorry. I'll get off of that.
Nah, man. But it's going to happen with every generation, though. There's some people that are going to think, oh, man, they messed this song up or they made this song better. It all depends, man. But I get what you're saying, though.
Well, it's just they're like clipping out just the catchy parts. It's like, I really like that song, and now all I can hear is just that catchy part.
Yeah, that's the hook for the video, man. But since we talked about production, what made you want to get into music production?
I stage fright.
What?
I'm not a performer.
You try to be a rapper?
No. I don't even want to be in the booth. You saw that tonight. I don't want to be in the booth. I don't like being in front of the camera, to be honest. Like this the first time I did this was pretty out of my comfort zone. Yeah. So as far as like production, seemed like something where I could use my music theory skills, but not have to be on stage playing my trumpet or something like that. Cause I don't know, I freeze up. I played a lot of shows on my trumpet. I mean, I used to play at bars in Wilmington and stuff sometimes, and I don't know. It's just like a mental block thing.
Is there a reason you get real uncomfortable that you can't perform on stage, or it's always been like that?
It's always been like that. I don't know. It's like well, trumpet's different because you can't get shaky on trumpet. If you get shaky, you can hear it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like singing. You can't get shaky and then get up on stage and sing. You can hear every little shake that goes on in somebody's voice when they do that.
Fair. But sometimes you just got to power through it, though.
I will say I would definitely play my trumpet in the booth. I wouldn't be like nervous about that, especially if it was something that was already written that somebody was giving to me and I had time to practice. I'm pretty comfortable with that. But like big audiences, big crowds, stuff like that. You know, improv solos in front of a whole group of people, it's coming straight from your brain. It's kind of like a nerve-wracking thing.
If you let it.
True.
I'll say to that, from my experience being on stages performing, very short sample size, but or in front of people just talking and saying stuff. In certain aspects, as far as you're just speaking, Don't aim to get one, but just make them laugh one time. Just get a little chuckle or get a laugh, and then that just ease everything through. And don't try to be perfect. And just know what you're trying to accomplish and know what you're trying to talk about.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say for that.
I bet you didn't even know. I used to sing in front of people.
Sing?
I can. I wasn't that good. I mean, I was all right. Like, I wouldn't have gone to college for singing or anything. But, yeah, I used to sing at church. I'd lead the band.
What made you like neo soul music?
Jazz. I played jazz. There's a lot of different sectors of jazz. I mean, it's like classical music. It's not just one genre. And there's like the people that like big band music and like up tempo, 15-piece band, high trumpets, loud trumpets. And there's the people that like Ornette Coleman, like the really abstract stuff where it almost sounds like he's trying to portray an animal. And then there was me. I listened to a lot of Roy Hargrove was my favorite living trumpet player up until he passed. Like Marquise Hill. I don't know if you've heard of him. Chet Baker. Classic. Miles Davis. Stuff that's slow with a really warm tone and has really rich chords. And then that turned into listening to rap music, but rap music that used neo-soul samples. And then from there, I just started listening to the music that I heard sampled in the other music that I was listening to. So, like a lot of D'Angelo's stuff, I feel like I heard it in another song, then went to it. Erykah Badu, though, I've just been listening to her for a long time, though. I think somebody showed me Didn't You Know back in, like, freshman year of college, and I was like...
Who showed you that record?
Honestly, probably the roommate that I'm currently living with. He put me onto a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I started listening to... because I was working at Carvana, so I was sitting in cars listening to the radio a lot. So I put on, like, Foxy 107, 104. That's how I got put on the Joe. I heard all the things your man won't do on Foxy 107, and that's how I got hooked.
All the things your man won't do. Damn.
You never know, dude. I also I listened to a fair share of, like, newgrass. It's like bluegrass, but kind of like newer influence.
Explain, elaborate.
Like, it's the traditional instruments from bluegrass music, but it would have, like, the chord structure of a more modern, like, country song. I don't really like country music, but I do like bluegrass music, so...
I've came around to country music, man.
Which artist?
I don't have a specific artist. I just been listening. I've been doing a lot of, I call it hard listening. What I mean by hard listening is I've been trying to listen to all the elements of a song. The music, the instruments, when I say music, the instrumentals, the structure of the sections and the lyrics.
The arrangement and stuff.
Yeah. But mainly listening for why do people like certain types of music. Because I've known people who listen to all types of genres, but over time, just hearing country here and there from people that I know playing it, I got around to, this isn't actually too bad. It's kind of fun, low key. But
it's easy to hate on.
It's an acquired taste too, and I get it, but I want to know why people like it. I always used to hear, because of the storytelling. And I listened to a few songs on this playlist a handful of days ago. And I've noticed they mainly talked about women the whole time. I'm not saying that's a bad thing at all, but I've noticed damn near every song was about a woman.
I think people like it because they grew up, like, eating hot dogs and listening to it. I don't know. That's the reason I like it. There's, like, very few country songs that I listen to, but I don't know, like Chris Stapleton, about the only country artist that I'll, like, listen to a full album from. He's good. My dad put me on.
Oh, that's what's up.
I tried to put my dad on the Erykah Badu. No, I didn't. I tried to put my dad on the Hiatus Coyote. That's what it was. I don't know if you listen to Hiatus Coyote.
No.
My whole family told me it sounded like she needed some auto-tune. I was like,
Damn.
no.
Damn.
Her voice is perfect.
In your opinion.
Huh?
I said, in your opinion, she might need some of that tune. Who knows?
Well, okay. The song I'm referring to, Drake sampled it. That's how I found out about it. I can't remember what the song was called.
What's the song Drake had it in? If you can remember.
No, that's what I'm trying to remember.
Okay.
I know the name of the song. It's called Building a Ladder.
Okay, no, yeah, that's all we need to know.
Yeah, check it out. It's a good song.
Okay. I'll probably try to sample it.
Good groove to it.
Okay.
Yeah, I like it.
Cool. So you've been producing for a while. How long, per se?
Really, since I came to Raleigh. I mean, I had made a few beats before I came here. No, that's a lie. That's a lie, because I spent the whole year before that just sitting in my car working security, making beats. Those were some long days. That Kenny beat battle beat I was talking about earlier, I made that in my car.
Oh, that's wild.
Well, I made the beat part in my car, and then I added the trumpet stuff on when I went later to the church. It's pretty fun. Yeah, a few years. I've gotten really busy recently, and I've been bad. Haven't made as many, but I just got a sample tank.
Haven't heard of it.
Sample tank. So IK Multimedia. Just a bunch of samples.
Okay.
So I'm gonna download those. They won't fit on my computer, so I have to figure out some other way to download them. And
Just get a hard drive, external hard drive, or SSD.
You sell beat packs?
I'm gonna start to eventually.
How will you set that up?
So I'm gonna make like beat packs. I'm talking about sample packs.
Yeah, like give them an artist for a set rate.
Got you.
Certain amount of beats for a set rate.
So how I would do it is I pick tracks that I think an artist may like or whatever, is put them in a folder, zip it up, get the bread and send it, put it in a little Dropbox.
And then they just
put the stems in it. Yeah.
They don't own those beats. I mean,
It all depends on how you're charging it. You just say, if you don't send a beat pack, just send a handful of however many amount of beats, and then just let them, whatever they pick, get the rate and whatever the arrangement is, get that from them. I'm not the expert, so you may need to look for some other information, but
just some quick advice. That's all.
Got you.
That's it. Somebody was asking me about beat packs earlier, and I don't have that kind of thing set up right now.
Yeah, get a tag.
It's been so long since I've made a beat. I got my old Stoneface tag, so I just put that on stuff if I don't want it taken. But I send out my beats with the acapella still on them. Tell people to listen to it that way. Every time I've done that, I haven't gotten any negative responses. Pretty much people just are like, I've never had anybody do that. That's interesting. They can hear it as an actual song. That way, the person can listen to the whole beat if they want to.
Right.
And they don't have to get it in snippet form. Because I like to change up my sections, make the end sound like it's not the beginning.
Okay. So how do you go about arranging your tracks?
Drums first. Well, that's, I guess, if I was making the tracks. I started out thinking about classic 8-bar hook, 16-bar verse, like hook, verse, hook setup. And I usually try to have 2 or 3  808 patterns, 2 or 3 kick patterns, and 2 hat patterns at least. And then from there, I just kind of go with what sounds good. I love to add like a halftime-ish sounding section to the end, especially with, like the hi-hats. Like you played a beat the other night, last week or 2 weeks ago or something like that you did that
made
with.
it.
Yeah, no, the one we made, yeah.
Yeah.
I like when people do that. I think it adds a lot. Because the song is supposed to be slowing down there towards the end. It's going to be ending soon. I feel like it helps.
Yeah, all depends on what genre you're doing it for, though. Because some it has a wheel lift up and then it just cuts off. So
I think if I could work on an arrangement, it'd be like keeping energy between sections. But I think my transitions are really good. Like the transition itself, it sounds entertaining, makes it sound good, but it's just like dynamic contrast I don't have yet.
I'll say, as far as that, add certain elements and just stick in that one section, and then just pull them away. Just have like more special moments in your tracks, and sometimes putting the tracks in environments that might help. Just give it a tone of kind of just idealize where you want this person to be at, so to speak, when they hear this, or where you want to picture them at, where they think they should be, where this.
I'm bad to just envision myself sitting in my car listening to my beat. I love listening to my own beats.
Why not? Yeah,
I like it, but that's who I make the beat for. I make the beat for me, and I'm not an artist. I've already said that. I don't. I told you tonight. I've never written a verse in my life.
Now I would say going forward, as far as you're making your beats, make them for whoever you want them for, but still make sure you're creating the tracks. If that kind of makes sense.
Mm.
And I would say, since you already have a musical background, just study more of the greats that you enjoy the most and take the influences from there. Because that's what I've been starting to do more as far as trying to gain more better songwriting and music production, and studying the people who are my favorites, and trying to figure out why are they so great? What made these beats be chosen for these records?
Yeah.
What made these verses sound so good? Why do people like these so much?
I feel like I'm trying to gain trust from my own ear again. That's why I've taken such a long break from making beats. Because when I sit down to make a beat recently, I'll play ideas, I'll have a whole melody going on. I never think it sounds good.
What are you trying to make when you make your beats now?
That's the thing. I have a ton of inspiration. I feel like I'm in this like phase where I burn out my music a lot. Besides Erykah Badu, it's never burn out Erykah Badu.
Well, now it's time to go to new genres.
True. I'm open to suggestions.
And I'll say go back to even older stuff, because it's really more musical, and you can get a sense of elements, where elements are where. It's not everything up like trap is up the middle in those songs. Some are paying, some only playing these sections. You'll hear a horn or a string, and then you'll kind of be able to picture how to make a sample for a beat. Mm-hmm. And what sounds go good together, because that's one of my issues, sound selection.
Yeah.
It's one of my earlier problems. I'm still getting over it, and I'm getting better, but I wasn't the best at picking sounds.
Half my best samples are just stuff I picked so randomly, like threw in, and then I was like, a lot of the times I'll throw in a sample on a beat that I've already made, and then be like, man, I like this better than the one I have on there. And then I'll end up taking off the original sample, I'll chop up the new one. That's worked for me in the past. Get some good stuff. Or like throw on like an extra chord sample somewhere that's offbeat, syncopated somehow, and has a lot of space in it. And just like put fresh air on it and put it in the background so you can like kind of hear it floating above everything else. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's advice I give you is expand your musical palette. Break out of your comfort zone. Listen to older music, 70s, 80s, and even go overseas with it. Go across the globe or whatever, and listen to whatever joins your ear, if that's a word, that you can learn from. And just study it. Don't just listen to it, but study it.
Mm-hmm. Kind of related. Have you ever heard of that? I forgot what it's called website wise, but it's a world radio website.
No.
So it's a map of the world, and you can see all the different radio stations, and you can zoom in and click on them, and it just plays whatever they're playing.
Oh, that's
I
wild.
used to pull samples from that. Go try to find like whatever radio station is as far away from every other radio station up in like Russia. Just find a sample, put it in my beat.
Or something else you could do is reflip something that somebody's already flipped. If you haven't been doing that already.
What do you mean?
Reflip samples that people have flipped in their beats before.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Or take those compositions and melodine it, get the chords, whatever from there, and then make something new out of it.
I've never done that.
That's
I've
something
never
you
used
use.
that function, and I need to do that because that was pretty cool.
Yeah, man.
It was a quick way to get some chords.
Yeah.
I struggle with composing my own chords. I can learn chords that somebody, like, I'll listen to a song and figure out the chords in it, but when it comes to, like, actually making my own progressions, I feel like I get caught in the same old, like, 2-5-1s.
I'll say for that, even when you do transpose or switch the patterns up, move around, 1-4-5, that's what everybody pretty much uses. Well, I ain't gonna say that. Well, that's one of them. 1-5-4, 1-7-3, whatever. I don't know all of them, but you know, it's pretty much most of the popular songs have similar chord structures anyway. Yeah. So just use those and make them different in different keys and just keep it moving. Practice some inversions, octave switching, double notes, single notes.
I do like adding in color notes, like 9s, 13s and stuff.
Yeah.
Really adds a lot.
Ghost notes,
Yeah.
But that's my advice to you, to study, because since I've been making more patterns, better types of music, and just getting more into it. I think in the state I'm in now, I'm really engaged for real, and I know what I'm trying to accomplish now. Because I've been making beats for 4 years, and I'm just now starting to get it.
No, yeah. I don't think I've gotten it. I don't think I could sit down here at the studio and with a client and like make them a beat on the spot.
Yeah, man. It's crazy because I did that about a handful of weeks ago.
Really?
And it was real quick. But the sample just fit. You ever drag a sample, it just fits or whatever you're trying to do? It had the drums. I said, drag the sample in.
Perfect.
It was in key too. I said, out of here.
Nothing
I just
better.
did some mixing and arranging.
I feel the same way about the acapellas. If I find one that's already in key and it's the right tempo,
man,
perfect.
I like to play the beat for you. I'm talking about after this, but man, it just flowed. And then the artist rapped on it a little bit, and I was like, yeah. Pay for the beat too. Yeah, man.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have yet to have somebody pay for a beat.
You'll get there one day, man. For sure. It might be tomorrow, maybe next week.
It could be this week because I have somebody looking. Just trying to get them in here.
Hey, man. It takes time, man.
Yeah, it does.
But the most important thing, you got to have yourself out there. Let people know what you're doing. Because I will say another influx of what has been happening on my side is I've been posting snippets of what I've been doing on Instagram. And I've been getting a lot of inquiries. Well, I wouldn't say inquiries because I haven't saw anything directly off of there yet. But people have been interested in what I do production-wise because of what I've been posting.
Right. I'm terrible at that.
Hey, man, got to start. Especially going on YouTube, man. Whatever you got, start posting more on YouTube too, man. So whatever's in your field of interest, whatever you have in your time of day, you feel like you can make.
Helpful tip of the day.
Seriously, though.
One of the best things Dre ever told me was to set up a separate YouTube account for whatever you're trying to study.
Yeah.
Because that just makes it so much easier.
Yeah, the algorithm fits that.
Yeah. You're just looking strictly at production videos.
Yeah.
Strictly at, underwater basket weaving.
Yeah.
Videos or whatever you want.
Yeah, for sure. Because the internet, especially on Google and YouTube, they have the algorithm. Whatever you watch, they're going to send you that. And also, they have on the side the little mix playlist, and there's more stuff such as that. So, all right, if you want to search for cool, low-key samples, you'll search it up from, let's say you have Jay Dilla, for example. You look up one of his older samples that he used on one of his beats. You look it up, search it on a browser that you're not logged into or another YouTube account, You search it and look on the side. There's going to be a bunch of recommendations of that topic. Then they could have a little mixed playlist as well of that. And then now you just have a field of samples you can pick from that are fire. But you can apply that to anything, though.
It was really helpful.
Yeah.
I got like 4 different YouTube accounts now just for different stuff.
Hey, man, that's how you got to do it, for sure. If that's what you're trying to learn something new or strategize on one or a few particular things, that's how you do it. YouTube-wise, anyway.
Yeah.
So you're not just a music producer, but you are a beginning engineer as well. So, as being a beginning engineer, what have you learned the most so far in your engineering journey?
Be quick, but like be quick in the way where somebody doesn't think you don't know what you're doing. You know, I had a really bad session in here that I didn't even run because I got kicked off in the first like 10 minutes. But basically, like, the real simple issue to fix. The guy was, getting really upset with me, and I was trying to get it done, but I was trying too hard to explain to him what I was doing. And it ended with me not running the session. He just kicked me off the board, called his own engineer in, and then I just had to sit and watch. So that kind of stung. But yeah, it's just like knowing what you're doing and being able to do it real quick, just quietly, and not let other people like be in your space while you're up there on the board.
Because I remember when that happened.
You were at the beach, yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, what?
It was not a good night for me. I did not leave here happy.
Because when you called him and then he told me what happened, I was like, what?
Hey, there was more to it that was going on.
We'll talk about that after, okay?
Yeah, there was a little bit more to it, and I don't know. I don't know if I necessarily did anything wrong per se. It's just that I didn't do anything as right as I should have, because once they stopped listening to me, they stopped listening to me. There was no like saving my reputation here. It's like I'm gonna sit and watch. And the worst part is the engineer they brought in just ended up doing the exact same thing that I was gonna do, and even asked me how to do a couple things. And I was like, you didn't want my help. You wanted me to sit and watch, so I don't know. I digress. That was a bad night.
What have you learned from that experience, though? What have you done to correct so that won't happen again?
It's signal flow. It was a signal flow issue that I had. Frankly, I just wasn't understanding what I was looking at as well as I should have, and like didn't know my template as well as I should have. It was a pretty new template that I had made and stuff, so and it messed me up a lot. And so since I wasn't able to fix the issue quickly enough, then just kind of gave it more time to go downhill.
Yeah.
I've also learned to be really organized, because I also had an artist that it turns out in the end that he had all the files the whole time. But he had thought that he didn't, and then when I went to go try to send them to him, found some mistakes that I had been making in saving sessions and stuff. I don't know. There's like mistakes that I learned from, and now hopefully won't make again, because I learned from them. It kind of sucked while it was happening, because you had to come help me out with that other one.
Yeah.
I had COVID, couldn't come in.
Yeah. I'll say story time real quick. One of the first 3 sessions I had, I didn't know the studio the best at the time, because obviously I'm new at running sessions at the studio. But I had a client that Mike had at one time, and I recorded auto-tune through the analog. I printed it on there, and I didn't know how to take it off. It was everything we got it done, but I didn't know that it's kind of a bypass way that we record the auto-tune through the Antares machine over there.
I did that on one track and then tried to edit some stuff, and Melodyne was like, never again. You can't do that.
Yeah. So moral of the story is know what you're doing and know your equipment. But spend a lot of time to learn it so when you mess up or something's happening, you know how to fix it. Because also having on older stuff I've edited before on like podcasts and stuff, just not knowing how to position microphones and sending certain files. Just one of my things that I've learned since I've been here is be aware.
Yeah.
Main thing.
Like people are paying hourly to be with us.
Yeah.
This is like they don't want to see us not on top of literally everything, you know. And that's kind of learned that from that night. It's like I wasn't on top of it, and those guys called me out on it quick, just like that.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Because if you don't know what you're doing, man, they always gonna think you don't know what you're doing even when you get it right. So it's hard to fix that. It's hard to fix that one mistake, and you can't. So you just got to move on with it and just.
And they'll tell you right to your face too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah. And they will not care at all.
No, they won't.
Yeah, man. What are your goals as an engineer?
I still feel like my goal is to well, that's a short-term goal, I guess. Like career goals.
All goals are welcome.
My goal right now is just to get quicker. That's really like what I want to work on, get more experience and get more comfortable on the board, because I do feel like I still go into every session nervous, which isn't a good thing. You get jittery, you know, you start slipping up, making small mistakes. But I want to get to that point where like I feel comfortable enough on the board where I don't really feel nervous at all. I don't feel like I'm trying to prove something to somebody. I'm just coming in, doing what I do, you know.
Hey, got to get those reps in, man.
Exactly.
Even off the clock.
Yeah, off the clock.
I bet. A word or a phrase that makes you great.
Bringing it back.
Of course, man. You thought I wasn't going to ask this question? Come on, man.
Word or a phrase that makes me great. Every time you say this.
My name is Zach Mercer, and I'm great because...
It's a tough question, Dre. It's a hard question to answer.
Listen, man.
Man, I don't know. I haven't been feeling that great recently.
Why not?
Because I haven't been putting as much work as I want to be honest. Like I said, yeah, I've been making beats recently. I haven't been coming into the studio as much, trying to get clients as much. I have been busy, but I feel like what made me great whenever I was like at the peak making good beats was that I was consistently doing it, just consistence. You know, anything I've ever been good at is mostly because of consistency with it.
Okay, consistency.
Consistency.
Okay.
I don't know if I'd say it's what makes me great, but I'd say like it's an important thing to have.
The reason why I ask this question to people, because I'm going to keep saying this. We all are blessed from above or wherever you think you come from with a gift or gifts that make us great in our own right and gifted at what we do. That's why I like asking that question, because if you don't know what makes you great, then how are you going to explain to somebody else?
Yeah, that's a solid point.
How are you going to know your value to someone or something when you don't know how you yourself is great? How are you going to get farther when you don't know yourself? So
True. I feel like that's important for like just as a business, pitching yourself, especially as an engineer. People want to work with somebody who is confident in their ability to do well.
yeah, man. You know what's next, right?
Yeah, I know what's next, Dre. I don't know.
I gotta ask you anyway, man.
Ask the question.
What is your brand?
This one might sound weird, but recently, so I've been working customer service. That's what I've been doing every day. I have to talk to people all the time. And I don't know. I feel like my brand, when I do that in particular, I don't know about all day, every day, but when I do that in particular, my brand is just giving people information that they need directly, trying to help them out as directly as possible. Which, like, kind of with what I would talk about with trying to get faster as an engineer and trying to get, more knowledgeable of what I'm doing. I think that would help me make my brand as an engineer being more direct with people, telling them exactly what I think they should do with their song, whether they do it or not, and just having those ideas. Like, even, like, say, 2-hour track, I didn't really contribute too much because I was staring at my phone the whole time trying to write a verse. Stuff like that, be more confident with it.
I'll say for you, just focus small. Start small. Don't try to write a verse. Just write a line or a stanza.
Yeah.
That's all you got to worry about doing. If you're in that position or asked to get on the production side of things. You could have asked Kid if you wanted to put a drum in or some instruments. She probably will let you do it.
Yeah.
But you just got to ask. Reason I did what I did because that's what I do. I can get on the board and do beats, but I ain't the fastest in the world at doing it in this kind of format at the moment. But I'm just gonna write.
Yeah, yeah.
And usually I'm the first one to make a hook or something out of whatever. You heard what I did. It was just
he does come up with some quick hooks, just on the spot. Yeah, no, I like that. I agree with that. There's no need to be nervous, just like.
Yeah, only worst thing that can happen is you fail.
Yeah,
so what?
It sounds bad.
So
There's
what?
been plenty of stuff sound bad in the studio.
Exactly, and stuff that sounds worse outside of it.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's not our fault. So, yeah, man. For worst thing somebody could say is you suck. So
Amen.
What? I'm nice. Fuck you. Plain and simple. You may not like my shit, but somebody else will. So fuck you.
That's a good point. There's a lot of music out there that it's super popular. I would never listen to it.
So much. A little too much at times, but still.
It is what it is.
Somebody is looking for your sound. Y'all just haven't found each other yet. Just like in relationships, people who aren't in one, there's a woman out there for you or women, man out there for them, whatever. Y'all just haven't found each other yet.
Yeah.
So you just got to make yourself be available so they can find each other. But an important part of that is knowing your brand and making that seeable and marketable to whoever you're marketing it towards. The reason I asked that question, I'm gonna keep saying this too, is if I give you a call and I have a certain amount of money and I ask you for what you provide as a service or as a brand, how you gonna answer that phone call?
I'm gonna tell you I can make you a beat or I can record you.
What makes you special though? A lot of people can do that. What makes you different?
And that's exactly where I got stumped up the last time that you asked me this question.
You got 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
You got 30 seconds to say what makes you special. I'm about to call you right now. I ain't gonna really call you, but you know what I mean. I'm calling you, I'm picking up the phone, typing in the number, whatever, right? Boom, you got 30 seconds. Hey man, I'm looking for service. Your name's Zach. I'm looking for. Hey, so I got about $5 million in You know, just give somebody. And I want to know what you can do for me that I can give you this $5 million for. This is countdown music, by the way.
$5 million. That's crazy.
You've got 17 seconds.
Dre's questions are too hard.
8 seconds. Gotta lose $5 million in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2.
I can make you a beat and record you.
I'll give you 30 more seconds so you said something.
Oh man, all right.
All right. Yeah, you make me beat and record me, so what?
I can make you sound radio ready. I can make you sound like you should be on everybody's TikTok.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Go on. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I ran out of time again, didn't I?
Yes, you did, but now I'm a little more intrigued. Go on. You can get me radio ready. Okay, I'm hearing you. 13 seconds.
I could. Man, Trey, this is tough.
Life is tough. So what?
This is tough, man.
1 second. You just lost $5 million.
I just lost $5 million.
Yes, you did.
Heard it
Because
right
you couldn't make up anything that makes you special. I can pay you $5 million for. All I know is you can make and record. You can record a beat and you can record me, and you can make me sound radio ready. All right. What else?
I give you ride around in my car. Be really fun.
I have my own car.
Man, I don't know. $5 million.
Yes. You don't have nothing else for $5 million. You just ran out a time 3 times in a row.
Ran out of $5 million.
You couldn't say nothing in 30 seconds for $5 million. About you, about your brand.
You're correct.
One day.
A year from now, when I come back on Dre's podcast, I'm going to have prepared these answers.
From the people watching this in the morning, noon, and night, we appreciate you being a part of the 2.5 LLCs experience. And as you know, abuse that like button, not because we want you to abuse somebody or something, but it makes us grow farther and across each platform. So, go ahead, abuse the like button, man. It ain't going to hurt. It's no pains being caused to anybody in particular. So go ahead, abuse all you want. Just don't do it too much, but still do it too much anyway if you want to, And you can find us on all platforms such as YouTube, 2 1/2 LLCs podcast, and on all podcasting platforms at 2/1/2 podcast. On YouTube again, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all podcasting platforms. You can find and locate us where they're at. And you can also find me on Instagram if you want to find me, RECROD.R.E. And on YouTube, Retro J, same way, but capital R, capital T, and capital E on the end. And on all streaming platforms, you can find my music if you want to listen to it, beats, raps, a little bit of melodics in there, And you can follow Antwon at CarterBoy2521 on Instagram. And our guest, Zach, a.k.a. formerly a.k.a. Stoneface. You can find him on, go ahead, state your claim and where they can find you at, sir.
On Instagram at ZMMixed. That's about it.
All right. And that is the conclusion of the 2.5 LLCs podcast episode, whatever episode this is, and whatever it releases. We appreciate you being on the show, sir.
I appreciate you letting me on the show, sir.
Yeah.